This is yellow cake that Cypher was having the PFs transport. Before we met you, the boss recovered it from a truck crossing the savannah. Are there metallic archaea inside it?
Yes, the archaea metabolize uranium-235 to subsist. They must be stored inside yellow cake, or they cannot survive.
So those biological traces we took for impurities were actually the real cargo?
Of course they are deactivated, so they do not trigger a sudden enrichment. They are like baker's yeast. Yet, they do gradually enrich the uranium as they feed. I imagine you detected weapons-grade traces.
Yeah, we did.
And the malachite that was loaded on the truck had traces of uranium in it too. So that's the flower, huh? Skullface was gonna sell do-it-yourself nuke kits. The uranium-enriching archaea complete with a user's manual. And the ores with the uranium could be sourced by the client or provided by Cypher.
Even the trace amounts buried in common ores can be enriched to weapons-grade uranium by the metallic archaea. Proving that must have been the most important factor of the trials. That and the ability to successfully prevent detonation.
So if the amounts of uranium in the ores are low enough, they can get past any inspection. And you only need a tiny amount of the archaea to act as the yeast. No great challenge to smuggle that either. The first step towards saturating the world with nukes.
His plan. That was not my intention. My only goal in developing the metallic archaea was to save the Dene.
What made you think a tool for creating undetectable nuclear weapons would save your people?
After 70 years, the Dene reclaimed the Navajo nation from which we were banished. We bore all the hardships of poverty. But we were proud to live off the land we called our own. But in the moment the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, everything changed.
I don't get it.
The nuclear arms race between the US and the Soviet Union began with the end of the Second World War. Suddenly, there was a massive demand for uranium. And it was our ill fortune that the ground beneath the Navajo Nation was rich with uranium ore. The Black Ana government set up mine after mine, and many of the Dene worked them, never informed of any danger. Every day, they went to work with no protection. The slag was simply piled out in the open. When rain fell, uranium traces left behind would seep out, and when the ground dried, it was blown about as dust. Land and water were contaminated, irradiated. Many of us became sick and died. That pain lives on to this day.
I had no idea.
Wanting more than anything to revive the land my forebears left to me, I was delighted upon discovering microbes that eat uranium. If they could be domesticated, I believed we could rid our land of uranium.
Were you successful?
No. The research called for funding on a colossal scale. But nobody was willing to invest with no prospect of a return.
And that's when Skullface showed up.
Correct. I can save you and your people. We share the same will. That is what he said to me. And I believed him. Black Ana forced me to abandon my uranium cleanup work and focus on nuclear weapons. And he held all the Dene hostage. Today, the uranium mines within the reservation are finally closing down. It is simply less expensive now to source uranium overseas.
New victims, different places.
But uranium is a tactical resource. To rely on a foreign country for it is a difficult decision to make. And he was in the perfect place to influence that decision.
He could have condemned your people to the mines forever.
The contamination comes not only from uranium. The fallout from the Nevada nuclear tests also settled on our lands. As if our fortune were not already bad enough, we are also downwinders. To save the Dene, I must complete my original research.
Please select a landing zone. Heading to Afghanistan.
Muy buenas, Darks, aquí estamos con Hardy y Daytona.
Hello Darks, muy buenas.
Vamos a hacer esta misión secundaria, pero importante, para ver qué podemos sacar de negativo de Hideo Emerick. Porque es que no se fía, y con razón, nuestros colegas Kaz y Oce. Así que, muy importante, esta debería haber sido una misión principal. Vamos a ello. Ah, pero antes quiero enseñaros un cassette, un tanto chorra, esta de las hamburguesas de Kaz. Vamos a ver qué tal es.
I have spoken enough. Your men can take it from here. Will you permit me to rest? Have something to eat?
I thought you don't eat.
I can subsist without food. But there is more to the act of eating than nourishment. We receive nature's blessings, and we affirm our part in it. And in doing so, we express our gratitude.
Sorry, it's, hearing you say you don't need to eat and that you're part of nature in the same breath. Anyway, what can we get you?
Complete.
Not exactly a 5-star restaurant, but the kitchen's used to serving a lot of different appetites.
Hamburgers.
Hamburgers?
Even we Dene have become Americanized. I eat them often back home.
And you just can't let them go. Well, as far as symbols of the American Empire go, hamburgers are pretty good. The victory of capitalism. Your people suffered so much at the hands of America.
You gotta extract him.
And you ask for hamburgers.
We have suffered more than you can know. But I do not see hamburgers as an accomplice.
Complete.
A single dish, providing a balanced helping of nature's blessings. Meat, grain, and vegetable. How could anyone hate such a magnificent thing?
Says the guy who can survive on photosynthesis. Balance has nothing to do with it. You just like a good burger.
That is also true. Be warned, though. I have very high standards.
Don't worry. I do too.
Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Fashioned all-American icon coming up.
I look forward to it.
He's coming too. Roger that. Pod launch
completed.
confirmed. We'll pick it up. I wonder what kind of secrets are buried in it. I'll let you know if we learn something. Got a report from the intel team. Remember how the man on fire was crushed by Sahelanthropus?
Extraction
Well, the Soviets
arrived
recovered
at
his body.
Metabase.
Could he really be dead? Boss,
Development
head for Yaha
project has
Ohu's
been
supply
added.
outpost and secure the man on fire's body.
If Skullface was right, and a thirst for revenge can turn a man into a demon and keep the dead alive, then this man on fire who's been coming after us ever since you woke up, well, that just might be what's left of our old friend Volgan.
¿Cómo se agradece contar con la dobladora a través de The Boss?
Pues sí, Jack.
Me encanta esa parte.
Y ahora, como habéis visto, vamos a por la parte del que creo yo que es Volgin. Bueno, lo creemos todos.
Lo dicen ahí ya, de hecho.
Sí, es verdad.
O sea, no lo ocultan muy bien.
You mentioned that the man on fire was crushed under Sahelanthropus in its hangar.
Yeah. He was caught under the wheels of its transport platform.
Yeah. But his body wasn't found.
What?
We searched the area the moment we arrived, but there was no trace of him.
I wasn't hallucinating.
I know. I trust you on that. That means someone must have taken the body. But when I got there, everything was still as it was. Even Skullface hadn't been touched. I can't see a reason to sneak into a place like that and drag out the biggest, heaviest guy there.
What are you getting at?
The only option left is... he got up and walked away.
That platform ran him over.
Just ran him over.
You're saying that's not enough?
I don't want to believe it, but maybe not. He shrugs off bullets, even rocket strikes. There's no reason to think that would finish him. It seems ridiculous, but I'll start gathering eyewitness accounts just in case.
If you dig up anything concrete, I want to know.
You'll be the first, if I dig anything up. But I hope to hell I don't.
No kidding.
Please select a landing zone.
Para variar. Aquí llevas todo de ataque. Vas a ir a liquidar a saco, ¿no?
Vamos a ir rápido, sí. Pero ahora toca otro cassette. Porque es que tantos que es importante, ¿no? Y nos hemos dejado y no me dará tiempo luego. Yo sé que es un poco luego tedioso. Bueno, mejor no vamos a poner. Pobres stars. Ya los pondré más adelante. Ya han habido muchos. Vamos a espaciguar un poco. Vamos a poner un poquito de gameplay solo con nuestras voces, por así decirlo.
Ok.
Para variar. Y luego, pues en el siguiente ya vendrán cassettes que faltan aquí. Importantes. Muy importantes. ¿Sabes que esta zona ya ha aparecido 3 o 4 veces en los vídeos? En los vídeos,
Sí, ya.
Y no estoy subiendo secundarias. Apenas.
Si nos lo pone así el juego. Es una de las cosas que no me gusta nada de este juego, es las constantes repeticiones de escenario.
Enemy presence detected. The map has been updated.
Iba a venir a matar, pero
Hay demasiados, ¿no?
hay
Es muy
muchos.
peligroso.
Voy a limpiar un poquito la zona. Y sí que voy a matar, sobre todo a los que no me interese, porque eso lo hago mucho en las misiones secundarias que voy a jugar. Los analizo, los que no me interesan los mato y los que me interesan los duermo. Por eso siempre voy con el rifle también.
Haces bien, haces bien. Mira, ahí está el cuerpo.
Ahí tenemos a Volgin.
Se me ha sabido un poco a que muera por el Sahelanthropus, no un combate tú contra él.
Ya. Al igual que Skullface.
Ya.
Al igual que Skullface, la verdad hubiera preferido un combate dialéctico primero.
Sí.
Porque... Y luego no sé, que... A pistolas, ¿sabes? Porque el Skullface tenía pinta de ser bueno con el revólver. No sé por qué.
Tenía la escopeta esa recortada.
Sí, algún enfrentamiento cercano que acabáramos por cogerle CQC. Ah, por cierto, esto lo he mostrado muy poco. ¿Se puede utilizar el cuchillo? Sí, solo cuando haces CQC.
Pero también hay que avisar que si utilizas el cuchillo, si habéis oído, sale como un ruedecito ahí de música. Eso, el juego tiene un sistema de karma oculto que cuando matas a gente de forma agresiva, por así decirlo, como de esta manera, te pone karma malo y te va creciendo el cuerno que tienes en la cabeza.
Y en vez de, somos Demon Snake, entonces.
Exacto.
Pero bueno, ¿eso tiene que ver con el heroísmo o tiene que ver con un karma oculto?
Es con un karma oculto, según tengo entendido. Lo que pasa es que el juego no te lo revela ni nada.
Vale. O sea, el karma no tiene nada que ver. O sea, el karma, perdón. El heroísmo no tiene nada que ver con el karma, ¿no?
No tiene nada que ver.
Vale. Es que de heroísmo tengo un huevo ya. Tengo un montón.
Sí, pues hay misiones que puedes perder bueno, dependiendo de cómo las haces, pierdes o ganas heroísmo.
Bueno, yo creo que de momento voy bien. Y el cuerno lo tengo bastante pequeño. Bastante corto.
Esos que te han sido fieles.
Ese Hardy.
Me has dejado a huevo.
Extraction arrived at Mother Base.
Vale, ya lo hemos tumbado.
Sin tocarlo, eso debe ser un récord, ¿eh?
Sí. Yo la verdad que es que me esperaba un combate contra un jefe. Mierda, tío.
I barely recognize you, Colonel. Skullface used your thirst for revenge against Big Boss, did he?
I've updated the mission list. We've received some new job offers. The details are on your iDroid.
Bueno, nos han dado un montón de cassettes, como estáis viendo. Que aparte, para registrar la zona esta de cuarentena, que es casi la primera vez que vengo, porque está un poquito más alejada de la Mother Base, hacia el norte, como veis. Y no me había dado cuenta hasta hace poco de que estaba. Yo pensaba que la nombraban, pero que no estaba.
Solo se puede ir en helicóptero.
Sí, y lo dicho, vamos a poner cassettes que nos han dado un montón y a ver si nos explican algo sobre por qué demonios está vivo. Pues bueno, ya despedimos, si te parece.
Sí. Hasta la vista.
Volgan, the GRU colonel, was burned alive with a Shagohod during Operation Snake Eater 20 years ago. Despite suffering severe burns to his entire body, he still clung to life. After you left Seleniarsk, Volgan's body was taken to a research institute in the outskirts of Moscow. But modern medicine couldn't explain why he was still alive. Not that the colonel was any ordinary man to begin with. That constant electric current he had running through his body that he could unleash at will. To be honest, I was always uncomfortable around him. Thought I might get electrocuted just by standing nearby. The institute studying him was tasked with investigating and developing human paranormal abilities. The comatose Volgan was used to further the Soviet Union's research into such abilities. But not long ago, the facility burned to the ground. And Volgan's body was never found among the rubble, even though the fire started in the room where they were keeping him. This occurred at around the same time you woke up. If Skullface was right, and a thirst for revenge can turn a man into a demon and keep the dead alive, then this man on fire who's been coming after us ever since you woke up, well, that just might be what's left of our old friend Volgan. It's not over yet. Back in '64, in Seleniarsk, you brought his plans for a utopia down in flames. That grudge is what's keeping him alive. The day the research facility holding Volgan burned down, a Soviet jumbo passenger jet happened to crash nearby, far away to the north of that hospital in Cyprus. On board the plane was a young boy who was being studied at the same facility. The plane fell to Earth from over 8,000 feet, but the boy's body was the only one not recovered. At almost exactly the same time as the crash, Volgan awoke in that facility. According to the Research Institute's documents, the gifts this boy demonstrated included psychokinesis and telepathy. To protect his mind from being inundated with other people's thoughts, he always wore a kind of gas mask. A rudimentary form of psychic insulation, apparently. We don't know where this boy is, but if Skullface is connected to him, we may cross paths with him yet. This boy is part of a new age where nothing we understand about the world makes sense anymore. Don't let your guard down.
Development project has been